So, well, it's all predicated on the reality that Rachel never has early labors or fast labors. Right? Never has fast labors. So we're going into this whole thing that this isn't going to be fast.
But next time you're going to know better.
Oh, next time we'll know a lot better.
Yeah, the midwife said, have you considered a home birth? You would be a good candidate for that.
But not up till this one.
Not until this one. Right. So we were just expecting a long labor. And so, Friday, Rachel actually, her body had given her a break from all the early labor. Like, she was doing great. She's even talking about making it past Christmas. She's like, I'm feeling so good.
Yeah, I didn't mind making it past Christmas when I wasn't contracting. I'm like, hey, I feel like myself.
David.
Yeah, so Friday was just a normal day. I was home and helping out at home, and at about 4 o'clock we were planning for the evening, and Heidi was coming over. We were going to go with her to look at Christmas lights.
Okay.
And Rachel said about 4 o'clock, she's like, would you be okay with us asking Heidi to just take the kids? She's like, I don't feel like going out tonight. Can we just order something in? Sure, sweetheart, that's fine. At that point, she's big and pregnant and expecting. I'm not going to try and fight her on,
Sure.
So, sure, okay.
Get in the kitchen and make something, woman.
Right. So actually, I went in and I started working on dinner so the kids could eat before Heidi came. And so that's our plan. At about 5 o'clock, Rachel comes into the kitchen.
I had been sitting on the couch and I got a strong contraction, and I felt like a thump in my stomach.
Yeah, it has to be metal. You're right.
And I thought,
So you think it's downstairs?
I think my water just broke because it didn't feel like a kick. It was just a very, very odd feeling. So I stood up to go to the bathroom, and when I stood up, it started coming.
Okay.
And so then I went and sat on the toilet and went to the bathroom, and then more came, and I was just sitting there. I think that was my water that broke.
Yes,
so I brought him.
I'm in the kitchen cooking.
In the middle of cooking, and I walked in. I'm like, "Smell this. Does this smell like urine?" Like, no explanation at all. Just smell this right in his nose. He's like, "No, that's not urine." I'm like, "That's what I thought." So
did it
called
hurt?
the
Was it
midwife.
painful?
No, it was just a really strong, it was a really strong
Because
contraction. It
my
wasn't
water
painful.
never broke on its own. They always
Mine
break
hasn't
mine.
either.
Right.
This was the first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then she says to me, I'm not having any contractions right now. What
Probably
should...
gonna have a baby sometime tonight, maybe.
Yeah.
Possibly,
Right.
yeah.
So I was like, you should probably call the midwife just to let her know, give her an update,
Hey, Ed,
So
was you looking for
Rachel
something?
calls the...
Are you
The
looking for
dinger
something?
for the triangle.
Oh, where'd it go, guys?
Oh.
Is that little
It
ball
was
right
in the
there? Does that
bag.
stick with the ball on it?
No, it's a metal, just a little metal rod.
Yeah. It's got a circle on one end of it.
What? Well, that was a little teeny smile, yes.
Yeah.
So,
So she calls the midwife.
And while I was on the phone with the midwife, I told her what happened. She said, "Well, I'm not exactly sure that was your water, but how about you head in and I'll check and see how you're doing." And so while she was talking to me, I got the first painful contraction, and then so I stopped talking, breathed through it, moaned through it. Actually, that one was.
Yeah.
And then I was talking with her, and then another one came, and then another one came. And so after 3 or 4 contractions, she said,
You know what a drum is?
"Yeah,
that?
you should head into the birth center. Get someone to watch your kids and leave now. And if anything changes on the way, just call me and let me know." But she was acting so nonchalant, so I thought, okay, I'm not really that far along, and we're gonna get there, and I'm only gonna be dilated to 6, and I'm gonna have hours to go like usual. But they were really intense, and I started thinking, if it gets
Thank you,
worse,
Uncle
if I
Ed.
have hours of this, they're just gonna have to knock me out. I'm gonna die. Like, this is what I was thinking.
Well, and that is how you
And
feel.
yeah, but I guess I should have realized that I was more progressed than I was thinking.
But how
With
could
thinking
you, how
thoughts
could
like
you
that.
have known?
Yeah.
Right. So at about 5:20, I check her phone because she's off the phone with the midwife, and Heidi's like, I'm 20 minutes away. I'll be there soon. Okay, good. So Rachel comes to me just a few minutes after that and says,
think it's gonna be
This isn't fun.
She's like, this is getting pretty bad. She's like, I've had several in a row. They're really hard. We should plan on going. I'm like, okay, well, Heidi's going to be here in about 15 minutes from what she said in her text. Like, does that sound okay to you at this point? She's like, yeah, I think so. So the kids are just starting to eat dinner, and I'm still working in the kitchen. Haven't even gotten things cleaned up yet. And Heidi gets there at 5:40. But of course, I'm not ready to get the kids out the door with all their winter gear and car seats. So I start that. Okay, we're done with dinner. I'm wrapping
I
up.
wasn't coming to stay.
No, she was
coming to get the kids to go look at
right.
lights. They were all
So
going
we
to go
had-
together as a family, and they decided, we'll just let Heidi take the kids to go look at Christmas lights.
So I got to get the
single
kids
gal
all out
version.
the door and all ready, and she
No, you
and
Hard time.
so by the time the kids get out the door, it's just after 6. By the time they're everybody's moved out, a little after 6, maybe 6:05, and Rachel caught me right before they walked out, and she just caught my eye because she'd been in the bedroom. She's so miserable, and she caught my eye. She's like, "I'm scared. We need to go." I'm like, "All right, okay." So the kids are walking. I'm literally corralling them out the door. She's like, "Okay." So I got the kids out the door, and I was like, "Sweetheart, there's a couple dishes in the sink."
No.
That's exactly what she said.
Get in the car.
She said, yeah, it doesn't matter. We're getting in the car. I'm like, okay. So she had already grabbed her heating pad, thinking that she had hours to go, and she miraculously, God reminded her to grab a what did you grab? A bed pad. She grabbed Stephen's bed pad, the waterproof bed pad, and she put it on his seat, on her seat. And we opened the garage door, and Heidi's out there buckling the kids in, right in front of our car. And Rachel looks at her, she goes,
Heidi, you need to leave now. I felt bad later, but it was just like, why are you in my way? I'm
Heidi's
having a
buckling
baby.
the kids and looks over. I'm like, can you just move over and finish buckling? And she's like, okay, sure. Right. Yeah. So at that point, we're leaving as fast as we can, but it's just after 6 on the Friday night, and there's traffic everywhere.
We're headed into the city.
Headed
where
into the
birthing
city.
Center is.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's traffic everywhere. I'm driving as close to a madman as I think I can get, weaving in and out of traffic. And we get about 15 minutes from home, a little over 15 minutes from home, and Rachel says, call the midwife now. But you want to do the lead up to that, what you're going through?
Well, I had been thinking I've got hours to go because normally I'm like that. And, but I was having so much pressure that I did not remember feeling until the very end with them. And so I was feeling scared, like, okay, is the baby really that close to being born? Or do I still have hours to go? So I was going back and forth in my mind, not sure if we should stop before we get to the birthing center. It was scary. Well, I had been this pregnancy for, I believe God was just preparing me for this and I didn't know it. I had been hungry for information about childbirth. I was reading, researching, watching videos of home births and how to deliver your own baby, things that normally with the others, it's like, I have a midwife, I'm at a hospital, they know what they're doing, I don't want to really know. I didn't care to know.
She'd actually been watching home births, videos of home births. I was like,
People
why are
delivering their
why
own
are you
babies.
doing
But
that?
I don't know. I'm really drawn to this right now. I want to be learning. And so, anyway, I think God was preparing me for that. I didn't know. So, but I was feeling very scared and just not sure what my body was telling me, if I was going to have this baby really soon in the car or if we needed, anyway. So I just started praying and just started praying, and God brought to mind.
It was more like crying out to God.
In contractions.
I know,
God,
it was.
please help me. I need wisdom. So, He brought to mind something that I had been hearing a lot of midwives and practitioners say. Trust your body. Your body was designed to do this naturally. So just trust your body that it's doing what it needs to do. So I thought about that and it was like, okay, all right, just pause. Just try to relax and just think through, okay, what is your body telling you? Where are you
My
at?
butt is telling me to push.
Exactly. And so when I got out of my head, like, oh no, I've got hours to go, it was like, oh my, I realized I'm not going to make it to the birthing center. So that's when I was able to say, call the midwife right now.
Is that when she hit you? I heard
No,
that she
no, no,
hit
no.
you.
That came later.
Oh, that
Yeah.
came
But
later.
because this is
Okay.
called midwife, so I'm like, sure, sweetheart, I can drive like a crazy person and call the midwife.
At the same
At
time.
the same time, that's exactly what I said to her. And but of course, I called the midwife. I'm not. But so I called the midwife and picked up the phone, and Rachel was in the middle of a contraction. I'm like, hi, this is Steve. Rachel said to call you. She can't speak at the moment, but give her a second. So Rachel comes out of the contraction, and the midwife says, so Rach, you gonna make it?
And I said, no, I'm not making it to the birth center. So she said, okay, take her to the nearest hospital.
Right.
And we just happened to be passing by Eola right at that moment. And so Steve was able to get off at Eola.
Yep, so I got off, and Eola's the one that runs right by here with my parents, and Rush Copley is right over here. We've already had 4 babies. So we're kind of equidistant from 3 major hospitals at that point. I thought, well, I'm just going to go to the one we know. So I started driving this way, and at this point, I'm thinking, we might have this baby in the car. So I'm blowing through red lights. You pull up, you look both ways. And as a matter of fact, she wasn't even paying attention, but I actually passed a big line of cars in a left turn lane and did that. Looked both ways, and like I think I don't care what they think of me or how crazy I am. Or
If we get a police escort, then
right,
still.
right.
Yeah.
So, but right after I got to the intersection, she says, "Pull over now." Now, fortunately, there was a parking lot from about me to that wall over there.
Okay.
You know, like I could see. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit the parking lot. And as soon as I started to turn in, she said, I said, pull over now. And that was the shock that I was not ready for, because I was pulling over. So I actually let go of the wheel for a second as I looked at her in panic, and the car jerked and hit a curb, and threw her into me. Like we just had that like a super jerky one, and I grabbed it, went back, and we.
So you were in the front seat?
I was.
Oh, mercy.
Passenger
So
seat.
I pulled into the parking lot, put the car in park, look over, and Amira's head is already out.
Oh, merciful days.
There was no time. Like her head was out, so I jump out of the car. I hadn't even parked it. I'm off the road, and I jump out of the car, run over to Rachel's door, and find out the door was locked.
Yes.
So I'm outside her door knocking, trying to open it like, sweetheart. And so she's giving birth, reaching up, trying to unlock the door like this. And so I opened the door and grabbed Amira's head, and she came out instantly. Like there was no time, there was no break, and she started crying instantly.
Oh, praise the Lord.
Yes, crying and coughing.
Because she didn't have to do that.
Right.
Right.
Now there was a small detail that we missed, that when we got in the car to leave, I went to turn the heat up for when the car warmed, when the engine warmed up, because it was freezing outside. It was below freezing.
Yeah.
And Rachel looked at me and said, "You are not turning the heat on. It is so hot in here." All right, so the car's below freezing,
Yeah.
but I can't turn the heat on.
But after the baby was born, you turned it
right,
on.
right. Well, so the baby's born, and outside is cold, and inside the
Inside
car
is
is cold because I hadn't had the heat on.
Did you have any blanket or
So I run to the back. We had all of the baby stuff in the back already. So I run to the back. I open the back. And I'm like, those look like blankets. I grabbed them, and I got to the front and found out, hey, Steven, shh. I'm having to yell. Thank you. I had, and they're burp claws.
That's okay.
So she just got
claws
layered
are
in a
just
whole
fantastic.
pile of burp claws.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Can always buy more burp claws.
Right. She got layered in a whole pile of burp claws, whatever I had.
Aw.
And then, so then we called the midwife and said, baby's born. And she was like, oh, you went to the hospital? I'm like, nope, baby
We're
was born in the car.
parking lot. Yeah.
And she said, okay, is baby all right? I said, yeah. She said, okay, well, get to the closest hospital or call 911 and get an ambulance. So I looked at Rachel, I said, do you want an ambulance?
For $3,000, $4,000,
Yeah,
$5,000? No.
No.
And she was like, I'm okay, the baby's okay, let's just go. I'm like, all right.
So you just held her.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, we
bless
had-
your heart.
I stripped down, got skin on skin, and
Oh, you
so
are
we tried
a
to
brave
keep her
woman. Oh, you're a brave
warm
woman.
enough
Did the
to
chills start?
Oh,
Or-
Oh yeah, I
You
started
must have
shaking. I
been
didn't feel cold though. But I was that whole shaking thing where your body's.
In the car at 20 degrees.
Yes. So we got the heat turned up, but then we drove to the hospital. I got to the hospital, and and I went in. There's
this
and
recording?
Rush Copley. Yes, sweetheart.
Oh,
And
cool.
Rush Copley has a labor and delivery entrance.
Cool. Yeah.
So I went straight there, and I went in, and the lady at the front desk says, I said to her, our midwife was supposed to call ahead, but my wife had the baby in the car on the way here, and she said, oh, so your wife's laboring? I'm like, oh no, baby's already out. Mommy and baby are in the car together, doing fine. And she's like, oh, okay. So she went, and we had about 10 or 12 nurses within 30 seconds flying out the door. They had a wheelchair and blankets and an incubator. They didn't know what to expect. So they came out with everything. And as soon as they saw Rachel and baby, they realized everything's fine. Like they could see, okay, Rachel's fine, baby looked good. And so that kind of was a general sigh. Okay, everything's fine. We got her inside and
Cut that umbilical cord.
yeah. They did the rest of it at the hospital. We didn't.
So did you deliver the placenta in the car also?
No.
Oh, good.
Waited for the hospital.
That's a little less.
Yeah.
And so I went back to the car later to check what needed to be cleaned. And here's the interesting. It's kind of funny. I found 3 tiny drops of blood on Rachel's the rubber. We had a rubber floor mat. So 3 little tiny things that you wouldn't even have noticed if you hadn't looked for them. And there's nothing on her seat, but her shoe was soaked with amniotic fluid. She didn't even have her shoe on. I don't know how that
so
happened,
weird.
but her shoe was drenched on the inside. So her shoe got a good washing, and that was it.
That's amazing.
Isn't it amazing?
Well, God
Amazing.
let your water break at home.
Yes.
So all that was
Yes, that was taken care of.
And a lot of it comes after the other, you know.
Mhm.
So God was just timed it perfect.
You want to tell Aunt Jan what you told me in the car before we got to the hospital?
Oh, well, I said to him, if all our babies came out this easily, we would just keep having babies because this was like, it was just so fast. It wasn't easy, it wasn't painless, but it was like,
Boom.
boom, she's here. I kept saying, I can't believe she's here. I can't believe, I cannot believe it. I think I was like in shock that it went so fast. It was amazing though, just that she came out crying and coughing, clearing her lungs immediately, just
That
removed.
was up the wall.
There wasn't, yes,
There was no danger.
absolutely.
Right.
There was no danger. They checked my, but this is another really, I think it's amazing. I had been, because of the research I had been doing, I had been drinking red raspberry leaf tea
Yes.
my 3rd trimester.
Yes.
And because I had read it helped with tone your uterus and then lowered the amount of blood loss during labor. And so they checked my hemoglobin the next day and they said, your blood count is amazing. It's like a woman that hasn't given birth. I'm like, thank you, Lord. Like, you know, I mean, after 5, anything. I mean, I could have been hemorrhaging in the car. But just all of those little things that are
look
huge.
so good.
That
Just 2 weeks.
She does
I
look good.
feel the best that I have
Bless you.
after any of them
God is
with
so
this one.
And one thing that I've been amazed at is you've been telling everybody that it was your best experience of your life.
It wasn't. It really was an amazing experience. Like,
One
I
that you
just-
will never forget.
I won't. It was incredible.
I won't forget it either.
That bruise on your
The
shoulder.
shoulder.
Oh, man.
Aw.
So,
Yeah.